gonna start very soon. So what's happening now? It's at 0. Gonna start very soon. So what's happening now? It's at 0. Okay, now I can hear myself with a delay. That's amazing. That's grand. That's awesome. Okay. Sounds working.
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah. Let me just. There we go. We made it, ladies and gentlemen. We made it to our 7th episode of Meet the Streamer, or rather our first on Twitch, baby. It's very cool to be here, finally, live on stage with a live audience, more than before. And tonight, or today, we again have 2 very special guests from the community. And first of all, I'd like to introduce our first guest, shadowevil. Say hello.
Hello. Hi.
Good boy.
Yeah, and our second guest today, the Depriesticles, both wonderful Borderlands players, and we're very happy to have you guys here. So welcome.
Thank you.
And
Pleasure is mine.
what? Yeah.
What? Was
okay. I'm gonna start with asking you, Shadow, a question from community, which is, what do you think of the evolution of the Borderlands community over the years, and how it's affected you personally?
Well, honestly, I've only been around since the Borderlands 2 days. I've only been technically I got introduced to the game from Borderlands 2 days. I've only went through Borderlands 2 pre-sequel and Borderlands 3 evolution. Pre-sequel wasn't that much of an evolution. It was more backwards, I guess, because the game didn't really have a lot of content to back it up, so the community kind of was just this continuation of what Borderlands 2 is. The evolution from Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3, of course, we have a lot more people now since Gearbox did a better marketing job than they did in the pre-sequel, and it's a much bigger game with a much bigger budget. I honestly like it when the Gearbox always comes out with more games and they bring in more people into the community as they grow. I'm sure the same thing's going to be for who knows, maybe they'll make another pre-sequel 2 or one for the Borderlands 3 engine or Borderlands 4. But so far it's been great, honestly.
Okay, quite. And then I'm gonna have another question for the Depriesticles. Well, what other actors? Because I know you recently talked with your viewers about the upcoming Borderlands movie. So, what other actors would you like to see in the movie casted as?
Me? You want to know what characters I think should be casted? I have no idea. I don't have a clue. I don't watch a whole lot of movies or shows or anything, so I'm just kind of going with the flow. I do think that Jack Black is a fantastic addition as Claptrap, though.
And then other actors, what do you think? Like about Kevin Hart, because that's a very controversial question.
Yeah, that's a tough one. If I'm being honest, Kevin Hart is a fantastic actor, and I think that, or I'm hoping that he's gonna perform as Roland as we hope he's going to. But I mean, he's small. He's very small. And it doesn't seem to make sense. But we could be blown away. We could be pleasantly surprised.
I mean, I totally agree. Like, in the age of special effects, we can make Kevin Hart as a tall person reality. And I think I'm looking very forward to that as well. And now getting into the juicy things with balanced questions about Borderlands 3. I was wondering what you guys think of the new skill trees, and follow-up question, are there any concepts or ideas you would have liked to see in the skill trees that either are in or didn't make it in?
Can I go first? Or?
Yeah, sure. Shall we go first?
Okay. All right. Well, so far I think it's a novel idea what they did. This is the first time ever that they actually introduced a new skill tree just flat out without introducing new characters. And they kind of promised us this at the start of Borderlands 3. They said they're going to expand on the characters realistically, we thought, hey, maybe it's new skill trees, and it turns out it was. They're a good idea. They're new. The thing is, if you look at most of the streams of people actually playing them, they're good, but they didn't put a lot of care after that they released it. Meaning, like, they didn't fix any of the bugs that they have. They're more or less like the glitches that since the preview of October and November, they still have the same glitches within them. They never fixed them, the bugs or anything. Like, look at Flak, and you have Moses, all right. Moses' purple skill tree is all right. I haven't tried a lot of them. The only one I really tried was Zane. I went with the meta, but they're a good concept. I just think if they put more care into them, actually fix the things that are wrong with them instead of just releasing them and say, hey, here you go, four skill trees, deal with them.
I think the purple skill trees, I think the 4th skill trees were a little bit of a reach on the part of Gearbox, if I'm being honest. I like them, and I think they're a fun idea, but if we were to ask the community what they would rather have, a 4th skill tree versus a potential new Vault Hunter, I think the majority of people would have picked a new Vault Hunter. That's just based on what I think. I don't know. I've never asked anybody.
Yeah, that's because sorry.
No, they're great. They're a lot of fun, especially Zane. Zane is just mega OP, but the bugs and the balancing, and we're losing a lot of stuff to power creep, and there's a lot of things that I think need to be addressed when it comes to adding extra dynamics into the game, such as a 4th skill tree.
And don't you guys think that adding a 5th character instead would have just had caused the same problems? Like, when you add a new character, there's also the same power imbalance.
God, don't even make me imagine. I think so, but the thing is, with Corona, it's really hard to add a 4th skill, just a 5th character, just in general. It takes a lot of effort to add a 5th character. You have to bring a new voice actor. You kind of have to come up with a concept. You kind of have to there's a lot to, you have to make the game kind of work with the new character. It's more expensive and more of a time investment and more of an investment to bring a new character to Borderlands 3, which is probably why Gearbox didn't want to do it. It's easier to just expand on the characters. The voice actors are already here. They're already known. The idea of the character is known, so it's easier to expand on them. And they thought that was the more the better approach for them. Maybe they saw that what they did with Borderlands 2 and pre-sequel, it was good, but they could have maybe done it in a more cost-effective way, which is why they did the 4 skill trees.
Any thoughts on the Depriesticles?
I don't know. It is what it is. I'm taking it in stride. I would have personally rather have had a 5th character. I think that just adds more diversification. We saw that in Borderlands 2 with both Gage and Krieg, and Gage is not really received well by the community, but Krieg is a fan favorite, and you could take that same argument to the purple skill trees, that the purple skill tree for Zane is now the fan favorite, so it was a good addition. And they, like I said, they are good additions. It's just I think it was a bit of a reach. I think that Gearbox and 2K are looking to do things differently than what they've done in the past, as more experimental rather than let's tackle this and give the community exactly what they're asking for.
Yeah, it's like would you take two new Gages or two new Kriegs?
I would. I'd love to play Gage, for example. So
I was a Gage main. I am. Gage is my favorite.
I have no rights to speak because of my current life, but
yeah, but I agree that bringing out a new character is its own set of challenges. Like, as you said, it can either be a fan favorite like a Krieg, or a someone that is not as well received, still much beloved like Gage. So from a gameplay perspective, very difficult. and that a fourth skill tree kind of like elevated it, kind of, but gave less diversity in a sense, and maybe didn't solve the character's problem if a character already had them.
Actually, that's another point. Fourth skill tree kind of fixes a problem. Well, I mean, it depends on how you fix it, but since there's a whole new skill tree now, if they, for example, never raise the level cap and stays at 65, it adds more build diversity. Kind of fixes a problem that Borderlands always had, which is, you have so many skill points, it makes the character easier. But now you have a whole tree to just spend it on, which has never been introduced in any of the other Borderlands games. Just flat out fourth skill tree. So it is an interesting concept. It is new. Gearbox always wants to innovate and not, go backwards. As you can probably tell from all of Borderlands 3, like there's very little nostalgia inside of it.
Mm.
Right. And piggybacking off of this question, I'd like to continue to our next questions, which, addressing both of you, is like, currently in Borderlands 3, what is your favorite build and why is that? Like, now with the new skill trees, we've seen plenty of new builds, and overall, like, what is the thing that you remember most fondly?
Of any Borderlands games?
Any Borderlands game works, but 3 specifics also allowed.
3. I'm gonna be an old man here and say back when the game first came out.
The olden days.
Yeah, back in my day, I used to love infinite ammo modes. I used to just love running around with guns and I just never stop shooting. I just go to town on it. I used to run a Magnificent. It's just fun to see the thing spin and just never end. Like, same goes with Shadowfire back in like green tree modes. That's a lot of fun. That's mostly it for 3. I don't think any other build like caught my interest. It's just if you put points into it and the thing just murders everything, kind of thing.
I may have a little bit different of a perspective because I'm not an end game player. I'm a challenge runner. I do a lot of one-lifing and a lot of different types of challenge runs, and end game builds for me are honestly not all that fun. I understand the appeal of wanting to go to these bosses and figure out how quickly you can kill them and how quickly you can kill mobs, and it's just that's where a lot of people default to. But for me, killing the same thing over and over and over again for hours on end for weeks and weeks and weeks is just not fun. I don't enjoy that type of gameplay, so I'd rather start a new character at low level and work my way towards end game. And so the builds that I create are more about survivability, and they utilize less skill points because it's not end game. A lot of my end lives will end somewhere around, I don't know, level 50 or 60 on average. So I don't even make it all the way to being able to utilize all those skill points.
Okay, then, well, let me kind of rephrase the question for you then. What has been historically, like, for these kind of builds or like these kind of playstyles, your favorite kind of skill for that matter? Like, when you say survivability, like, I can't help but to think about like Axton and his grit skill, even though it's like such a dice roll. I kind of loved that skill. Every time you hit it, this clunking sound and just get back your health, it was amazing. So maybe you have any experience with that?
Oh, to a certain degree. I think lifesteal skills, which is very early on in Zane's purple tree now. You can spec into lifesteal right out the gate, and it makes one lifing on Zane a dream, and it's fantastic. I have a couple of builds out there that utilize lifesteal and survivability, and they don't really get a whole lot of love because it takes a few minutes to be able to take down a boss, but that's not the point. I don't try to kill things as quickly as possible. I want to make it through everything without dying. So yeah, lifesteal skills and I don't know, probably crit skills are pretty up there with as favorites, and kind of create builds around those.
I'm gonna go through this train of thought right now, because apart from a very weird question that I know everyone answered, which is like, what is like to be a goose? There was also a question if you have any good tips about how to go through the one life run. I mean, apart from the skills you just mentioned, like anything else that players should look about after, no specific, for example, guns or the way to go through the one life run?
It depends. Like, yeah, I guess if you're just looking to one life in general, Jacobs is always my default. You know, if you can aim reasonably well, then Jacobs usually carries you through all of normal Vault Hunter mode.
Mm-hmm.
And there's guns like, you know, especially in NVHM, I know legendaries are freaking everywhere, which is why I generally will do like a double challenge, like either a manufacturer specific or like a no uniques one life, or just, you know, just a couple of examples.
Mm-hmm.
But things like if you can find a Terminator, you know, is a Malawan shotgun that will just absolutely obliterate everything, even white rarity ones. They're friggin' crazy good. And Jacob sniper rifles, where you can keep your distance a little bit. You know, you can play a flak and use a pet to kind of put your pet out there to tank some of the DPS, and your Jacob sniper rifles, where you can kind of stay back a little bit and just go for crits and stuff like that. You one lifing in challenge runs, you really have to take kind of a slower approach, where Borderlands in general, you just want to go out there and get in the fray, and you're running into big groups of enemies, and you're mobbing, and there's bullets and explosions friggin' everywhere. But when you're in a one life, you know, you really need to take that step back, slow it down a little bit, go for long shots, try and aim a little bit more carefully, and take your time.
Okay, now I have a question to both of you guys, a little less about Borderlands, about you as a streamers. So everyone starts somewhere, of course, and I want to ask you guys, who inspired you to begin streaming at first place? What was the thing that made you stream? Or person?
Boy, this answer. Well, this is gonna sound familiar, but Admiral Baru. He inspired me to stream. I had a Twitch account all the way back in 2011 when it first came out. I actually didn't even know that. Apparently just made it and just forgot about it and just followed like one person. But I found Twitch through Admiral Baru. And just from there, I kind of just saw how streaming is. And this one time he started a one life challenge. You guys may have heard of it, and it required streaming. So I started streaming just then because it required me to stream, and I thought I could put my skills to the test on this one life challenge. He really did inspire me to stream, though. I started all the way back in 2013, and here I am, just like 7 years later.
How about you, Depri?
For me, it was I've always loved Borderlands pretty much since I found it. I played Borderlands 1 before Borderlands 2 came out, 85 billion years ago. And then I pre-ordered Borderlands 2, and I played Borderlands 2 for years, just kind of casually on and off. And I never really did like YouTube or anything like that. I never really just looked into it. I was a gamer, so I just found a game that I really loved, and I played the crap out of it. There was one weekend where I had a nephew of mine who was staying with me over the weekend, and we were just geeking out playing Borderlands all weekend. And we reached a point where we wanted more Borderlands, but we didn't want to play it anymore. We had been playing it for hours and hours, so I went on Twitch, and the first person that I found playing Borderlands 2 was Bad Karma. And I clicked on the channel, not really knowing what to expect. I had an account that I had kind of similar to Shadow. I had made it like generations ago, and I had never followed anybody. I had never done anything with it. I didn't know anything about Twitch at all. And I clicked on Bad Karma's channel, and I almost instantly fell in love with his content. He was just very community focused and very interactive with the viewers, and it was just very welcoming, and it was very wholesome. It was an excellent environment, and I found myself wanting to go back every day. And I memorized his stream schedule, and I'd know when he would go live, and I'd just be there, and I'd try to be there earlier, and I would just look forward to his streams. And after months of just hanging out in Karma's channel, I was just like, maybe I'll give this a shot. Maybe I'll give this whole streaming thing a go. And just kind of started talking to my wife about it and compiling the gear and the PC stuff and the mic and everything that I needed to be able to try it, and just thought, I'll just, I'm going to be playing video games anyway in my living room. Why not just hit the live button and see if I can meet some new people while I'm doing it? So that was the inception of twitch.tv/Depriesticles.
Awesome to witness the birth of a streamer like that. Also, it's also always nice to know where people are coming from when it comes to these things. And following up on Piric's question, I'd be wondering what the story behind your guys' username and/or profile picture is that you have right now.
Or basically a mascots at this point, because both of you have a mascot.
Yeah, the mascots. yeah.
Well, my name is unrelated to my mascot. My mascot was just a side thing that happened whenever I became partner, because I don't have a mascot. My name came from a game called Shadow the Hedgehog all the way back in 2005. Yeah, I know.
Ooh. He has a gun in that game. Did you know that?
I was like 8 when I made my name. I don't know. My mind combined the word shadow and evil, because that game, you can pick if you wanted to be a good guy or a bad. Like, there was just multiple choices in there. I don't know. I just went with Shadow Evil, and then I slapped my birth date after it. I was actually Shadow of 1996, and yeah, that I came up with that in 2007 actually, which was 14 years ago. So it's a really old name, and I just stuck with it. I never changed it. That was just the go-to name ever since.
Yeah, so you're basically telling me that you could have just as well been Shadow Good?
Could have been.
That's the evil twin. We don't talk about the evil twins on this stream.
Alternate universe for Shadow Evil when?
My mascot came because one of my mods drew an idea, like just a little devil thing, and he's like, "Hey, look at him. Like, I like him. Good. make chemos out of him." There you go. Easy. He doesn't have a name. I never just I call him dude.
Wasn't that a horny eggplant man or something as well?
I think one of my mods called him horny eggplant guy. So I mean, he's not wrong, but
how about you?
I just kind of went with it. It's been good so far, and the artists have been really creative in just making him just a thing. I'm thankful for that.
My name was a joke, actually, for a long time. I didn't come up with it myself. It was when I built my first PC, my first gaming PC, I should say, back in high school. It was a couple of buddies of mine who were playing Counter-Strike Source back in like 2000 friggin' 5 or 2003 or something like that.
Proper ancient game.
Yeah, and they were just, I mean, they were playing Counter-Strike, and they wanted me to play, and I'm like, down, give it a go. And so I had saved up a few $100s and built some crappy PC and mostly hand-me-down parts. And when it came time for me to create my Steam profile, I was like, I don't know what to call this thing. And they were like, Depriesticles. It's a play on my name, on my last name, which I'm not gonna divulge my actual last name, but it's a misconstrued joke of what my last name is, and it just stuck. And that was my first Steam profile, and I went to go make an Xbox account. Then I used the same thing, and it's stuck with me ever since my days of Counter-Strike Source. And it wasn't, I didn't get my mascot until I started streaming, and it wasn't born with the inception of my stream either, because when I started streaming, my name is Depriesticles, and when my wife started gaming with me, my roommates at the time thought it would be funny if she named her account Mrs. Tickles. since I'm Depriesticles, and so they called her Mrs. Tickles. And when I started streaming, I'm like, okay, my channel currency, I guess we're gonna call it Tickles, and it's just kind of all based around this whole tickle theme, which just kind of happened by accident. And I had a friend of mine who was a viewer I had met here on Twitch after a while of streaming, who was an artist, and he's like, hey, I'm just gonna whip you up some stuff, just some artwork and just see what you think. And he invented this mascot that is the Tickle Monster. And we didn't really know what the Tickle Monster was supposed to look like and anything, so we just kind of like started like looking up, just Google Tickle Monster, and we're like, what kinds of other things are out there on the internet? And we just kind of came up with this little, green with horns. He's got 4 arms, so he can tickle even more, and he's the Tickle Monster. And that initial artwork, kind of got faded into the background for a while, and then I went through some phases where I had like Pokemon emotes, and then I did some Borderlands emotes, and then when I went to go kind of retheme and redesign a little bit, I brought that back and had a different artist recreate the Tickle Monster into what it is now, and now it has become this mascot that's the logo, and all my emotes and everything are based around this Tickle Monster. There's even a female version of it that's supposed to be, a throwback to my wife that's rather curvy and pink.
Yeah, there was some like emojis around with the pink version of Tickle Monster. I've seen that.
Yeah. It's my tier 3. It's the one emote that stands out over all my other ones. It's a 4-armed pink Tickle Monster.
That's cute. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna go back a bit to the Borderlands. And I have a question for you because, as you know, the hunt is coming, and I didn't try to refer to Flak at this moment. The hunt, the event that Joltdude and Killer 6 are running. Are you guys gonna participate in it? What's the most exciting thing about this that you wanna do during the hunt? What's like your best part, do you think, of the hunt that's happening?
Well, it's interesting because Borderlands 3 is not a small game. It's just there's over 500 legendaries just alone in Borderlands 3, and with given limited time, and it's interesting to say the least, because Borderlands 3 is not like any other Borderlands game. There's just a lot to hunt, especially within this given amount of time, and it can be pretty competitive to see what kind of things you can come up with. It's just I don't think anyone's gonna finish the hunt within 5 days. That's impossible. You have and there's also a lot, they put a streaming limit, so you can only stream 12 hours a day, so you don't do like a 5-hour day stream and grab everything, and because that's also bad for your health. It has an interesting approach this year. I never really took the hunt quite seriously previously. I just log in, farm a couple of things, and just call it there. But this time, I think since I'm trying this 60-day challenge, I think I will actually try my best at the hunts. I will see if I can't get the most points. I'm not sure where I can score. I kind of have a plan of what to do, but hoping I can place at least top 15. I'm not trying to go like super high, but
I'm actually not even going to participate this year.
Wow.
I love Borderlands, and I loved the hunt that I did a couple of years ago when it was Borderlands 2, and I had a lot of fun with it. But this year in particular, I mean, mostly it comes down to like I have some IRL things that are happening where I'm not really able to stick to a hyper consistent stream schedule right now, and the hunt seems like it would just it puts pressure on me to sit down and play Borderlands for hours pressure to get all these different legendaries and get the clips and submit your points and everything. And well, it's fun when I have the time for it. Right now, I just don't have it in me this year. So I'm taking a bow for this year, and hopefully next year's hunt will be a little bit easier for me, where I'll be able to actually focus on it and be able to participate.
All right.
Okay. Talking about like making this hunt like kind of hard this time around because there's so many legendaries at this point. And this like being like kind of a drawback of it being Borderlands 3. I was wondering, like, opinion wise, what is your most and least favorite part about Borderlands at this point?
My favorite part definitely has to be early game. I really like doing one lives in Borderlands ever since I started streaming. I started with one lives, and I still stand by it. I like the concept of just starting a character just from scratch, from level 1, and just taking him all the way to maybe in game, which is why I like pre-sequel a lot, because pre-sequel, it doesn't have a lot of in game, but the leveling experience, it's pretty fun. Getting to explore your characters. Jack, leveling up Jack or Timothy is one of the most fun experiences you can have in pre-sequel. he has so many skills that just work together, and just you get this dopamine rush whenever you level up. You spend a skill point, you just find a gun upgrade. I like that. I like the gameplay loop and just leveling up in Borderlands and starting from scratch. Sadly, the least game I like playing, because of the leveling experience, Borderlands 3, because the pacing and the story just kills it for me. I don't want to sit here for 5 minutes, either going half across the map to talk to someone, or just going back and just hearing Maya talk about, why Reese should, remove his mustache. It's like, come on, just move on. Get a teleport or something. Like, just message her. It's the year 2800. Like, you're in the future. Like, we have this figured out in 2021. I guess I talked about the thing that I dislike the most about Borderlands in the same time that I did in the thing that I like the most.
I mean, what you say makes like a lot of sense, like considering how often we get like called over like an echo, and suddenly you have to talk to Lilith in person. It's kind of whack.
You just have to travel to the ship. You have to wait through the load times, and then you have to. No, they spawn you on the other side of the map too, just to add salt to injure. Just so you have to walk all the way to Lilith, and then you talk to her, and then she gives you like 5 minutes speech, and then you can go shoot your guns. It's like Borderlands 2 was never like this.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you got figured out how to grenade boost you to the first floor of like Roland's house in Sanctuary.
Yeah, like
fetching quests was easier than ever.
Yeah, like I it's just something that really bothered me. I guess one other thing that's not, that the story pacing that bothers me. Right now, I guess in Borderlands 2 there's actually a bit of things that bother me. Hint why the UCP was made to begin with, is to fix these things. But in Borderlands 2, the acquisition of loot really bothers me in that game. It's if I want to farm for a mission item, there's just no source. I have to restart all of EVHM if I want to get one fibber, and it's just the problem with Borderlands 2 is that most of the good guns are the uniques. Legendaries, you can get them anywhere, but only a handful of them are useful. Most of the good guns are the uniques. You have the Fibber, you have the Pimpernel, you have the Grog Nozzle, even though like the Grog Nozzle you're not supposed to use. But I remember when I killed an OP10 Iron God, which was over level 100, someone told me like, why are you using all blues? Why aren't you using legendaries? And I just realized like, you're right. I was using a Pimpernel, a Grog Nozzle, and a Lady Fist with a purple Love Thumper and a purple Singularity and a blue class mod and a blue relic. I'm like, you're right. I'm not using legendaries. All the good guns are just the blues.
Interesting though is you don't really see that happen a lot in Borderlands 3 now. Borderlands
I
3
know.
has taken
They
that
fixed that.
and they've shifted it to where you almost have to have legendaries, which sucks.
Which is good. It's good.
Is it
Yeah.
good? I mean, to me, I think it kind of blows.
Look,
It's you
you know,
limit
a gun like the
yourself to everything
Pimpernel.
other than legendaries is now obsolete.
Yeah.
Where in Borderlands 2 you could do these different quests and you can get blue items that normally you would just like you wouldn't even think twice about it. It'd just be what it is, you know. Oh, blue item, just go, you know, throw it on the ground, leave it there. But they're viable and they're usable, and there's builds and diversification that you can utilize in Borderlands 2 as well as legendaries. But in Borderlands 3, the loot drops are so extensive, and that's the thing that I like the least about Borderlands 3 right now, is that there are so many legendaries that it takes away from the value of getting legendaries. You have to get legendaries if you want to, like, you know, be super powerful or whatever. You want to go and create these OP builds. Everything has to be legendary. There's no diversification, and you get legendaries everywhere. Even after they introduced dedicated drop sources for different legendaries, you still, in some cases, it's better to farm for world drops and hope that you get one than it is to farm the loot source. Where in Borderlands 2, I feel like that was a lot of the life of it, is you could spend hours farming for a Lyuda, and it was a blast. I had fun with it the whole time. You know, you're still killing the same person over and over again, but when you finally get that shining, you know, orange beam, that means a legendary dropped. You know, there's that excitement factor that is lost now in Borderlands 3. That's no longer there. That's my biggest complaint.
Well, I kind of agree and kind of disagree at the same time. I agree with the dedicated loot sources. Yes, that's a clear problem of Borderlands 3. The thing is, there's like 500, 600 legendaries in the game. Like, what do you expect? They kind of have to cram things in. It's unless like they make an enemy for every single gun, like it's kind of unrealistic to just have the same experience that we did in Borderlands 2, just given the amount of guns that we have. The thing that I like the best about Borderlands 3 is that it clarifies what's a good gun and what's not a good gun. You know, uniques were never supposed to be powerful. You know, there were never, you were never supposed to have, you know, just a blue gun to just carry it, to just be the best gun in the game. It's supposed to be a legendary. Borderlands 3 clarified that. They have the veterans loot machine, even though like it wasn't at the beginning of Borderlands 3. They added that later. I'm glad that at least there's a good way to obtain uniques. In Borderlands 2, there's just none. Right now, like on my one life, I almost said Mo's gauge, my one life gauge, I have to restart UVHM every single time I almost beat the peak. Like every 3 OP, I just have to do the whole story again, so I can just get a fibber and then just move on. You know, there's nothing I can do to get another fibber, and it just reminded me like that is a disadvantage. Whilst in Borderlands 3, you know, you have the loot machine, you have the vending machine, you can see so many rolls. Like it just scrolls down, like you see all these things, and you can pick even if you weren't going for one, like you can see another unique that you did like. At least they have the option there, and they also clarified what's a legendary and what's a unique. Uniques were supposed to be something you used to, you know, when you're leveling up your character. Something, you know, that's nice, but not overpowered nice. Just something like, you know, sweet, like that. You know, like for example, like the Pimpernel's better than half of the legendaries, if not more than them. You know, it doesn't even come close to what a Pearl is. It's stupidly strong, and it's a blue. You know, there should be some, like, at least they clarified a little better in Borderlands 3. But it is an issue that you put every single thing in the legendary loot pool. Like, there's just no diversity. Like, you know, Mayhem 6 exclusive legendary, Mayhem 4 exclusive legendary. It's the same thing. You know, you have, you know, the what was it? The Torg assault rifle. There was one Torg assault rifle that was so bad. Like, it was worse than a white. I swear, I was using a white. I was having more fun than using. I keep forgetting which one it is, but
the Alchemist,
like,
maybe. Like, I didn't like the Alchemist.
It's the Alchemist, or there was another one too, but it was, I got an arms race, and I swear I was using this, just any other gun in my inventory did better than it. Try Tribalt? I think it was the Tribalt.
Oh, the tribal is also pretty bad. I mean, in general, ever since they nerfed the whole torque thing with the explosions, the sticky bombs and everything, like all these things that were just there to apply sticky bombs are just never came back.
I mean, I think
but they kept adding them in later DLCs.
This really divided community, because I usually hear that people are complaining that there's too much legendaries, they're everywhere, and there's no point using other guns. On the other hand, there are builds or like ways to play where you focus on other guns than legendaries. So yeah, I think it really divided the opinion overall in the community.
I think it just comes down to the individual person's play style and how they like to play and how they like to build, and it's person by person. I don't think any one person is right or wrong. Some people love that there's legendaries galore, and then there's other people who think that they should be a little bit more rare. And either one of them is correct.
I think it's,
it just comes down to the individual.
It's another thing that shows us that the game is so diverse and there's so many things in it that people can find something they like and dislike, and there's always something for everyone. And staying on the loot subject, but in a kind of different way, I have a question for you guys. If you had a loot explosion when you died, what would you drop? Anything.
That one's easy. Orphan Maker. There we go.
Oh my. You can drop not guns, but normal items as well. I'm adding that. So.
Normal item? Well, I don't know what I'll drop. Follow my glasses. It's the most iconic part of me.
Do I actually give any stats, or do I just get worse eyesight?
You probably, I'll probably drop. I don't know what's the most iconic thing. Probably my mustache. It's probably gonna give you like streamer luck. You'll just have good luck the entire time you just have it on. I'd probably drop what else? Honestly, I have no idea. Is no one a choice here, or do I have to answer this?
It's fine.
It has been a difficult question for everyone, but that's why we're here.
Yeah, how about you?
Be creative.
It would be my butt for
Your
sure.
Creative.
Very creative.
Yep,
I like it.
My ass would just be there for anyone to come by and just touch. It would just be a butt touch galore.
That sounds
all over the place.
Yeah, sounds like one hell of a legendary item to find. Okay, I have another question for you guys. Something more creative. I mean, we still have the creative line right here. I'm gonna be the creative person here. With a question
more creative
for you.
can this get?
You will see. So we have the takedowns, we have the arms race, two things people absolutely love. Like most communities are very excited about those two things. So if you had an option to choose a new theme for a new upcoming takedown or new upcoming arms race map, what would you want to see the theme for it? Like it could be anything, like certain planet or certain manufacturer. What would you think would be a cool new theme for those two things?
Electricity. I think Electricity should be an arms race map. I think it was built. It looks like it would be built for an arms race run. And if they expand that, I think Electricity is already done. It's already a map that we can go to, and if they can utilize that map and do arms race within Electra, I think that would be perfect. You have vertical elements where you can climb on the buildings, and there's places you can go everywhere, and it's large enough, and you could put just the chests in different locations around. I think it would be perfect.
I agree with that. It's anything, right? Even takedowns. Because to me, I would like to see a Hyperion takedown. I know we beat their ass in Borderlands 2 and pre-sequel, but I would like to see a legit Hyperion takedown. Let us fight. For example, they can show us what the real Wilhelm looks like. Not the cheap one in Borderlands 2, where you kill Roland or you kill Wilhelm. You can have, for example, Jupiter. He's just way bigger than Saturn. He's just the ultimate. Jack didn't. It wasn't Bunker or it wasn't Saturn. It was Jupiter. This big loader. We can fight. They can introduce new loaders. That we've never seen before.
I think that would be viable too, especially for a takedown, because it would be like.
I mean, we've seen kind of like what a huge loader looks like with the Malevolent takedown. Not the Malevolent takedown, but still the Malevolent takedown. Like they also have like this kind of loader thing, but mixed with humans.
Yeah, it's like a Power Rangers kind of style. Yeah, I kind of like it.
Oh yeah,
Megazorus or whatever their name. Yeah, I kind of like that.
The Wilhelm's Legacy right there.
Yeah, like maybe Blake comes in, and Blake is actually, we don't know who the real Blake is, and he just shows us how it's done. We fight Blake, from Borderlands 1 days. He just gets in like just a hyper giant, just a mix of every single loader, and he just and it gives us a reason to use corrosive guns. I know that the Malawan Techno has corrosive stuff, but I've always liked the loaders theme of Borderlands 2. I'd like to see that a little bit expanded on.
I think a return of Hyperion, like Hyperion almost trying to take back the throne or whatever, would be a fun takedown experience. Like Hyperion's coming back, I know we're focused right now on Malawan. We have the Malawan takedown, but like, hey, Hyperion's still out there. They still are trying to make a name for themselves or whatever, even though Jack's gone. So I think that would be a good idea. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Also like it's very feasible to implement. I mean, if you think about the first DLC, we found out that the casino was also like a huge loader factory. Like, what if Moxie finds out, hey, there was a shipment, like many million shipments to this one place. Check that out, and suddenly we're fighting God with the Hyperion logo.
Yeah, like it's the same as a Malawan and Guardian take. I think it's their game. It doesn't exist. They can just make up anything. I think it could work. It's more a little realistic, and I wish that they did it. It sucks because the takedowns are they're so fun. I wish that they did more of them. Like every DLC release, there's a takedown. As simple as that. We would have had what, 8 by now if they released every single DLC. But it's fine. I'd just like to see them expand on it. I think 2 is cutting it a little short. Guardian takedowns, it's a bit novel that they tried to copy Bungie with the mechanics and everything, and I really like that. I give them credit for that. It's no 16th phases bosses, please.
Right. So since we're on a topic and we want to be creative,
I'm so sorry
like
about
just an
that.
opinion. Yeah, never do this. Joking. The one question that is on my mind is like, what do you like about takedown arms race, and what do you guys don't like about them? Like, I know like arms race and takedown are 2 different things, but we've talked about both of them at this point, so like it would be fair to like say, hey, I really like something about takedown but not arms race, or vice versa, which something where in the other.
Sure, I can kind of chime in.
Sure.
I really like arms race as a concept. It's a really novel idea. It catches what I like about Borderlands. I always like starting with nothing and just building my way up there. The problem is it was implemented a little wrong. There should be a prestige system, just something in your menu that says just arms race in it. Do whatever with it. You get upgrades over time. You use these upgrades. Maybe there's just a separate arms race skill tree. You can just
like
upgrade
a guardian
and
rank.
Maybe like a separate guardian rank just for arms race. Just something to respect your time being in arms race, giving you more benefits. Maybe not fully unlocking everything, but this could be fair for everyone. Like unlocking something that gives you a little bit more benefit. That means your prestige, and the more that you do it, it becomes better. Because right now, arms race, other than the feeling of just getting a gun and using it, like there's no point, like ultimately, because it's the same every time. Whilst time. Yes, it's good for experience and it's really good for loot, I'd like to see them expand a little bit more, add something, an incentive in arms race, because I do see that as a missed potential, not having just a dedicated arms race tab. Just
I 100% agree with all of that. I've actually had multiple conversations with people about that, of different ways they can implement sort of like you were saying, a prestige type of thing with arms race. Even like you're first, after killing 30 enemies, you unlock like just like a basic action skill even, or something like that. Exactly. And that can be improved with the more you do arms race. Just somewhat basic functions. The one thing that I don't like about arms race is that no matter what character you're playing as, the gameplay is the same for every single person, or every single vault hunter going into arms race. There's nothing to separate out Amara from Zane versus Moze versus Flack.
There's one thing, but this is the class mod that you're gonna get. But
if you get a class mod, you know.
No, like if you want to spy class when you play Zane, but that's the only difference. Like,
yeah.
I agree with that. Like, for example, you could do five arms race, and that gives you 1 prestige point, and you can spend that. And hey, look, for example, your starting chest just gives you blues, purples, and like you can use that loot, and that gives you more reason to play, and then like you're gonna get more chests. Actually, you know what? These events that they've been doing with like the bubble slowly, like it doesn't go down as much, or hey, there's more things in there. That could actually be used as something for the prestige mode. They can actually use these events that they've been making. It's a good idea. For example, maybe at the capstone, it allows you to use arms race weapons in arms race. You get a plasma core, you can just use it. Go ham. It's Borderlands. Have fun.
I think it can be improved on a lot. The base is there. It's got a really solid foundation, but it needs more to it. You can't live in a foundation. You need the walls and the roof, and it just needs to be built on. And I think it's an amazing concept. It needs to be worked on. It needs to be refined a little bit. I think it's similar to the takedowns. I mean, the takedowns are a lot of fun. They're pretty much the only thing that we can consider to be the primo end game content in Borderlands 3 right now, and they're great. But you can only do that so many times for so many hours before just getting bored, So
yeah, exactly. And I like your idea of like just more arms race maps. Like Lectra City is a perfect example. I actually tried to think of it. Yeah, there is a boss in here. At the end, the whole map is just perfect. There are skylines and everything, and it could actually work. It's foolproof. Like there's you don't even have to do anything. Just copy and paste the map, change the name. Like I don't know, it's like not Electricity, like Fire City or something. I don't know. Just come up with some name, and it'll work totally. Like it's more arms race. It's the same mode. It's the mode that people come for. They want to see more variety.
Yeah, different bosses. Even like it can be a randomly spawned map. It could be the classic arms race map, or it could be Electra map, or it could be something completely new that we haven't seen before. And each map has a dedicated boss to it, and that boss has a dedicated drop, and so it would give you more incentive to want to play more arms race.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we can do that with mods, but that's another topic.
I mean, one question I'd like to throw in here is, like you guys talked about like a kind of prestige system where you can like unlock things or like add things to it that equate to the events. Now I don't know if both of you have played like Hades, probably, I guess. And like
I've
because
heard
in this
so
game,
many of it, I want to play it so bad.
I am
like,
so addicted to
in
Hades.
this game, like no spoilers for this, is a thing called the Pact of Punishment, where you choose conditions that apply, like enemies that are faster, they deal more damage. Enemies with like armor get like a certain perk, mini bosses get harder, things like that, like things that act against you, that don't do you any favors. But for this, you increase like a heat level, and clearing like the game at a higher heat level gives new rewards. So what if something like that could be done for arms race, where you then get like
a mayhem modifier?
No, not like a mayhem mode. We're not talking like linear scaling.
No.
Just take this enemy, give it 1 million health, bam, here's your mayhem. No.
No,
We're
it's
talking
more
more
like
creatively.
you have a list of different types of modifiers that you get to pick from, and with each one that you choose, it increases the difficulty, which also then increases your rewards.
It's like they already had the system in pre-sequel with the Claptrap DLC. At the end, you can just choose the modifiers, the difficulty, and based on the modifiers, it gives you better loot. Literally, there's a shot that guarantees you legendaries if you pass on the highest difficulty. And like pre-sequel already suffers from loot. Like, I'd actually be lucky if I saw a blue in pre-sequel. I think it's
oh my god,
it's great. I don't know what it was called, Mutated Arena, yeah. And it's pretty difficult at level 9, and it does it has like these things you can mess around with that was kind of the end game of pre-sequel, but you can only do so much media arenas before it gets boring. But the concept's there. They can already do it.
Yeah, they have the technology. They can rebuild it.
Yeah.
Yeah, most importantly, now that we have like title with such popularity and such a good reception as Hades that does it. Like I think no one would be mad, not a single soul, if they just copy and pasted the entire idea just like that.
It brings longevity to the game.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives you a reason to want to keep going back. And the harder that you make the game for yourself, the more your skills improve. And then you can make it harder, and it gives you more incentive to want to come back. And it's a never-ending cycle. It could really, really bring a lot of longevity to the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. And now kind of like going completely off topic, I know. Still in the creative sector. We're not out of the woodwork yet. Since we talked about like, like there's like Hyperion can be the evil guy again. This time it's Malawon. And at some point it was Stahl. So I would like you guys to rate the manufacturers on a scale from like the most evil to probably the nicest, although nicest can be like substituted for least evil as well. I was wondering like how do you place the guys?
If all manufacturers from Borderlands 1 all the way to 3, or
you can also take the ones in 3 if that's easier for you. Like I doubt most people won't know SNS munitions.
All right. In my opinion, I'm gonna start. The floor is tedier. All right. The floor is tedier. I don't think they're evil. They have a novel idea. They want to make cheap guns for people, just so they can sell more. It's profit. They're a business. Sure, they're cheap, but they want to open the idea of guns to everyone. And hey, look, like they're disposable. You can just toss the gun. Second, we're probably, I don't know, Vladov. I don't think they're evil. Like they just want to prepare everyone for the revolution. If it eventually happens. I don't know if I'd rate that evil or not, but it's a little higher on the scale, I guess. Because there is some attack. They might attack someone. Higher up. Well, I don't know. Jacobs isn't evil. I don't think they're evil. We directly were involved with Jacobs. They don't seem to have any bad practices. I think they're pretty nice. I don't think I've seen anything bad from them. So they're all right. Malawon, other than Katagawa, I think they're just more prone to just selling you out. I don't know if that's evil or not.
Kinda is.
Kinda is, yeah. They'll just if someone has the bigger money, they'll just take that. They don't care about your feelings. Just take money. Which, I mean, again, like all of them are businesses. It makes sense. They just want to make money. Other manufacturers are out there. Torg, I think Torg is. I'd say they're kind of under Hyperion. We kind of saw from DLC.
Torg is the most evil because Grand Moff Lexington and that raid boss was absolutely horrendous.
Hey, I unironically enjoy it. Okay.
I would put Grandma on like chaotic neutral. I think at this point with the Torg with what he's doing.
No, I have nightmares about Grand Moff Lexington.
I
didn't know. I was live when I first encountered that, and I did that DLC, and the chat knew about it. The majority of people knew about it. And I didn't, and so they were like, "Talk. You need to talk to Grand Moff Lexington." And I'm like, and they were very adamant about it. So I knew something was up. And sitting there for 27 years as Grand Moff Lexington just spews on a whole buttload of nonsense. It scarred me for life. I can't sleep at night now, and it's been years since then.
I don't mind Grandma Torg. Chat's gonna hate me. I actually like listening to her because I actually try to sit down and listen to her and like make sense what she's saying, and it makes sense. All what she's saying is making sense. Yes, I actually tried to. It's like what is it? It's like, sometimes people say stuff, but like it's kind of a mystery. Like they say
I
it
know,
and like
Shadow, we were supposed to like make out and stuff after this interview, but I don't know that I can anymore. I might have to take a rain check.
Guys, you were paid for this. You're gonna do this now. You have no choice.
oh shit. It's like I don't know. She kind of talks in puzzles, and I kind of make sense of the puzzles, and then like because I make sense of the puzzles, like I find out more about it. Like I kind of enjoy that kind of thing. Yeah, she talks for half an hour. She talks for the span of the universe, but
Did you ever click the wrong answer?
No, because I remember all of them.
Did
Because
chat
I can't like
bait you into clicking the wrong answer? No, just me. It's pure nightmare fuel.
Once. I've only once did the thing, and I had to listen to it again. But other than that, I actually still memorize all the right ones. Never answered wrong.
Oh,
and
God.
plus chat tells me if it's wrong. So,
I think that's where the evil in her name comes from. Actually, at this point, after listening that you really listen to her all this way.
No, it definitely makes sense. It is definitely shadow evil.
Damn it! Let me have an opinion.
Shaking my head.
No, goddamn, this is the internet.
I think
you may
Torg,
not.
I don't know. They're kind of evil. Like if you saw DLC 2, just based on the story, like Anton Smith, I don't know. He just seems like a dick, man. He's just like they all seem they seem the same as the Hyperion board of directors. They always just want to make money. Like it's so aggressively. Like it's like, we're your boss. You got to listen to us, Torg. We're your boss. You don't hold anything in your own company. So they're kind of evil because of that. I think they kind of showed their true skin in Headhunter 2. Anshin, I don't know. They're just gonna slap you with a shield. I don't know what they're gonna do, man. Pangolin, same thing. They do one thing though. The base grenade that you throw, or the base of the grenade mod is Pangolin, from what I know. You just buy Pangolin and then you modify it, and then you have your own grenade mod. So they could be evil. They could plant something in a bomb and it just blows you up, for example. There's that possibility. And then Doll is they're kind of evil. Like you can see what they did with Pandora. They tried to literally mine all of it. They tried to mine all of Pandora before that failed, and they realized that's unrealistic.
But on the other hand,
Hyperion, I feel like
in DLC 2, they also made a research there to research some science stuff. And
yeah, Hyperion. I feel
like
Hyperion.
Super well.
Hyperion's like, what is it? I feel like they're trying to be. I don't know, like from pre-sequel, I got the vibe they're trying to be like Apple, but in a Borderlands way. Like they're trying to be like, they're kind of evil because of that. Like, what was his name? Tacitor? Yeah, Tacitor. I don't know. Like I do get Steve Jobs vibe from. I don't know why. He like the looks of him and everything. That's why I got the idea that Hyperion are trying to be Apple. Like their guns, like how like the guns, like and the prefixes names, like practicable. They're just trying to go for like the same style as Apple products. They're just trying to they're trying to be classy and like, look, our products are better than the others. You should use them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're a business after all. Jack is what made Hyperion evil. Because he literally murdered Tacitor. Spoilers.
No.
Spoiler. Well, I mean, I don't think Borderlands 2's main villain was Tacitor. Spoiler. But no. Hyperion. Yeah, they're. If it wasn't for Jack, I think they'd be slightly above Doll, just slightly. But that's because businesses are evil in general. Did I miss anything? Is that all of them?
Atlas. How could you forget about Atlas?
Right, Atlas. They're all right, man. They're okay. They're not.
I guess.
I hope so.
Okay.
Lots of mustaches. Don't like them.
Grumpy, we're gonna talk after this episode, I think. Anyways, Priest, do you agree with that? Do you think something should be what shadowevil said is not.
You know, I
entirely-
never even really thought about it all that much. So what Shadow said, I think is it. I mean, it makes sense.
Makes sense.
What he said. I mean, except for the pangolin thing where he's saying like they could be evil because they could do something with like the base of the grenades. The same thing could be said about Tedior. I mean, what if they're just putting on a good front and, you know,
that was a
at
fault of
one
mine.
point out somewhere in the future, they're just going to explode all the Tedior guns out there in the world and kill half the population they're going to take over.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's a fair point, I think.
Prince, I have a question for you about one of your hobbies, which is cars. We all know that you're one of the car lovers in the community. So
I love cars, yeah.
Yeah. So the question was, what got you into the interest about cars, and why Subaru? And if Subaru isn't your dream vehicle, what would it be?
I'm the only person in my entire family that has ever been into cars, and I happened upon it by accident, actually. When I first got my license, it was just like I didn't really care. It was just I wanted a car just to get me from A to B. But a buddy of mine who was he was pretty well off, and so he got a pretty nice car for his first car. And he was my best friend, and we'd always drive places together, and it's just I'd go for rides in his car, and it was fast, it was fun, and it was awesome, you know, and I really enjoyed being in his car, and it just like I don't know, I fell in love with it. And so when I got enough money of my own, I bought my first kind of project car, which was a 1996 Honda Prelude. And I was in high school, so Honda days are, you know, everyone starts with Honda. And I dumped a buttload of money into it, and you know, I replaced the motor in it and put a better motor, and I lowered it, and I put some fog lights on it because I thought they looked cool, and just, you know, I just kind of started to fall in love with my car, and I ended up finding some local totally legal street races that were, you know, hosted, that never ended in running from the cops ever at all. And I started to, you know, kind of get involved in that underground scene a little bit, and going to car shows and just souping up my car. And I don't know, I fell in love with it, and I've been in love with it ever since. And so I when I was younger and I didn't really have a whole lot of money, I'd buy like a cheap car and just kind of, I'd keep it for a year, and I'd spruce it up, I'd fix it up, I'd you know, rattle can it, you know, paint it, or I'd put a body kit on it. I had a 96 Eclipse at one point that I put Lambo doors on just because I could, you know, and just did absolutely stupid things to all my cars, riced them out and made them low and loud, removable steering wheels, the whole bit, you know. And then I would trade them for like a newer or better or faster or more expensive car, and then I do the same thing to that, and I'd put a bunch of money into it, and then I'd trade it again, and I did that for years until I finally landed on one of the dream cars at the time, which was years and years ago. I had a 2000, it was a base Civic Si with, you know, it was the stock motor, so I had the stock dual cam V16 in it, and I loved it. And it had the gold, it was the classic blue paint job with the gold rims, and I mean, it was beautiful, and I loved it. And I kind of, I don't know, matured, I guess, into when I finally got enough money to buy a new car. It was, you know, the newer Hondas were not exactly, they weren't what I was going for anymore. So it was between a Lancer or a WRX, and I just kind of had to pick one. And so I picked a WRX, and when I bought my WRX, I absolutely fell in love with it. It's, yeah, I got the twin scroll turbo in it, and it's I lowered it, and I've done all sorts of crazy stuff to that one too, and actually became a Subaru ambassador. I was kind of a representative for Subaru, where I'd host car meets and just help other people work on their cars. And it's just, I don't know, cars have always been a hobby of mine. A very expensive hobby, but a hobby nonetheless, and I love them.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, I could see like on your server you have like a whole channel where you guys share all of your cars, and That's pretty amazing. I'm pretty amused by checking there every once in a while. Shadow, I have a question for you now. So people usually know you because of all your work you did on the modding for the community. So my question is, how would you say that modding has had an effect on Borderlands series as whole? Has it become an integral part of the game, like something that have to happen, or is it something that you can just go without? And how did it affected your life as well, maybe? Yeah, but mostly like how it affected the game.
Well, I'm gonna use an example here. You know, when a drug dealer usually gives you a little bit of the good stuff. You take a
Oh no,
little bit
Shadow's
of
a
it.
drug
You
dealer.
just want to go back. You just can't. You're so used to it, and it's the same example with modding. Once you try out like the modded life, and well, I say modded life. I say like the mods. You want to go back. You always just want to live the same experience. You just want to keep experiencing it. You know. um and it's the same thing. Like it just applies to modding. Like modding has evolved a lot since the first community patch. There's map editors now. You can almost do everything within the game. I do think I don't think it became like an integral part of the game, but as I said, because everyone just kept playing the mods, now they kind of become part of their game, and they can't play the game without them because they just make the game much better. I know Borderlands 2 probably is considered maybe perfect by some people, but um, just fixing the minor things that bother everyone. I do think maybe that entices people to download more mods. Um, I don't think it changed my life a lot. As I said, I only really founded the first ever community patch, and the second one I worked a lot on, but then someone else came in because I did hotfix manually, and I do not recommend anyone starting in modding doing hotfixes manually. They're a mess to look at. There's this one dude who just made a tool and just did probably like I'm not joking, months worth of work within an hour, because he made a tool and that just always gets the hotfix right. No little, I swear, one symbol like this small, you miss it, it doesn't work. It's so precise to get it. Um, so I guess 90% of the second one edition I did make. After that, I had very minimal involvement. I didn't do anything. Other people chimed in and they did the work. The third and the fourth and the fifth. I just had the vision of what the community patch should have been. But other than that, I think I just made minor mods. I don't think I've made any other mods. Even though everyone knows me for like being this very creative person in terms of mods. But credit goes to everyone who does actually make the mods. The smart people in the community that I got. The people who make all the Python scripts, the people who make the hex editing tool, the person who did the BLCMM tool. The people who made very vital modding tools for everyone. The people who made hotfix modding available for everyone, even in Borderlands 3. Like these are the true heroes that we should thank.
Okay, guys. Before I ask another question, I have first I'm gonna double check. You both seen the reveal of the upcoming DLC, right? The DLC 6.
Yes.
Okay, so my question to both of you is, what do you look forward the most in the upcoming DLC?
Honestly, I have no idea. I'm not looking forward to anything. I'm just going in blind. It's just a DLC and I happen to own it, so I'm just gonna go in expecting nothing, and I just want the game to surprise me. I honestly, with arms race and the first kill trees, I went to like I don't know what to expect. Like it was just, hey, just respec. All right, there you go, done. Or to arms race, you just enter arms race, you just play it for a little bit, and you're done. Like, there's really not much to do in the first one. And the second one, I guess you actually have a raid boss. Spoilers. That you have to fight. And it's just these are really my expectations. I do want to be surprised by the DLCs.
How about you, Priest?
I'm about to get a whole lot of hate. The
Bring it
thing
on.
that I'm looking forward to the most is character development for Ava.
Hell yeah.
I think that
Oh,
she
hell yeah.
gets
I actually agree with you.
way too much hate. And I think that it's kind of a hive mind mindset where Maya, all right, here's my running theory.
Uh-oh.
Is that Borderlands 2 was so iconic, and we had the end of Jack, who was an incredibly amazing antagonist for any video game franchise. Handsome Jack is in my opinion the best antagonist that I've ever seen in a video game franchise. He's the most notable, he's the most, you can remember him, you know, even his backstory, you know, it's incredible. They really developed that character a lot. And so for Borderlands 3, they had a ton to live up to, and they had very, very high expectations set for them. And I think with the Calypso twins not being Handsome Jack and not having that reputation, they tried to do something that was going to impact the community in a big way. And the way that they chose to do that was by killing off Maya, a fan favorite. It just so happens to be that Ava was in the same room as Maya when she died. What if Tannis was there instead of Ava? Or what if Lilith was there instead of Ava? Would we hate that character just as much as we hate Ava? Or do we hate Ava because we don't know her, we don't have a backstory, and she happened to be there, so she gets the blame put on her for whatever reason? And I've just seen this hive mind where somebody started hating Ava, and now everybody hates Ava. And I think with a little bit of character development, we can get some backstory as to who Ava actually is, what she stands for, and her role that's going to be in the future of Borderlands. And I think this is a really, really good outlet to be able to give us some of that backstory, to be able to develop that character a little bit more, so that we don't have this cloud of hate over a character that Gearbox has decided to introduce into the Borderlands franchise.
So what you're saying is that Ava just needs a lot of filler episodes to grow to actually get to the good arc.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that's fair. Like we had the subject of Ava on our episodes many times where we talked about she's just too normal character, too normal to stand to the ground. That's why he gets so much hate, because she's not as crazy as other characters. So, I mean, let's hope that this DLC and this Ava part that we're gonna get there actually gonna give us some redemption arc for her that will actually make her a worth character that won't be that much hated anymore. And I think here we're gonna slowly wrap it up. So before I go to the end credits here, I have a question. Do you guys want to shout out to someone, thank someone, add something for yourself? I don't know, Shadow maybe first.
Do what now? Shout someone out.
If you want,
you can shout yourself out.
Yeah,
you can shout
you
anyone
can
else out.
Tell us where we can find
shout
you
us out.
online. Yeah.
A green screen.
Well, you can find me at shadowevil, and shadowevi on Twitter. Not an L, it's with an I, because a meanie took the original one. And yeah, I'm live every day from 4 to 8 p.m. GMT +3. I'm trying to do this 60-day streaming challenge. Currently doing one life gauge. Reached OP6 on Gauge, which is, I'm pretty sure that's actually the furthest anyone has gone. Like further than that is uncharted territory. So but other
OP8
other
one
than
life
that,
gauge.
Sorry, what?
I did an OP8 one life gauge.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's on.
It is on. It is on. Okay.
It is on.
Well,
Someone has to prove
technically,
it now.
it's all right.
See, so
You're,
that we have to step.
you're getting very close, though. I mean, that was before OP10 was even a thing. So
I'm gonna have to ask you for tips then.
Okay.
you're gonna be sorely disappointed.
You have to step up your game, Shadow, now.
B and Fibber carried me through the whole thing.
Well, I mean, I'm using what? Just the normal fibber and adaptive shield. I'm not even using Moxie guns. I used OP6 with 0 Moxie guns. Never used a Ruby. Never used a Grog Nozzle. Anything else? I just relied on healing.
Yeah, no, you got bigger balls than me. I was grogging everywhere.
I did not even use. I'm using a level 18 slog I found in the Wall Gobbler DLC. So.
Dude, yeah, huevos. You got a large huevos on you.
Okay,
that's fine.
Priest. Okay, Shadow, continue. Sorry.
And you can find me on YouTube, the user/Craig, I guess. That's where the Craig memes come from, but yeah.
Okay, and Priest, anything you want to add for himself?
Yeah, I want to give an honorable shout out to my friend shadowevil. You can check him out at
I wonder if he's watching right now.
/shadowevil. If you guys haven't heard of him, he's fantastic. He's really cute, and he's got really nice hair and glasses and a beard and stuff. And you guys will really like him a lot. You can also check me out on my channel at twitch.tv/Depriesticles or on Twitter, Depriesticles. And you can see it like right
other side.
If I'm pointing right.
The other side. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. There it is, right
over there. Yeah, okay. Thank you guys so much. For anyone who missed today's episode or tuned in too late or want to check it out later, we're gonna soon upload it also on our YouTube channel. It should be faster now with all the things we did here on Twitch this time for a change. I hope you guys like a new format that we try to introduce today here. And with that, I think we're gonna wrap it up, and I'm gonna look forward to see you guys here in 2 weeks on our next episode. I want to thank you very much to both of you guys for joining us here today. It was a lovely...
It's been an honor.
Yeah, it's been a lovely afternoon. And thank you so much, guys. And to all of you, see you later, guys. And see you around in the Discord, probably. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.